This Jefferson nickel just sold for more than a brand new Tesla. Only on valuable coins all world. Don't miss the 5-cent jackpot. Top 1. When you think of a 5-cent coin, it's easy to overlook it. A small, silver-colored piece of pocket change that most people pass along without a second thought. But what if that same unassuming nickel held the power to transform your entire day or your entire life? Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of the 1979 Jefferson nickel, a coin minted in the United States that might just be far more valuable than it seems. In fact, some examples of this coin have become prized treasures among collectors, and one very special nickel from this year shocked the numismatic world with its incredible auction value. Let's rewind the clock to 1979. It was a year of change and transition. The United States was grappling with inflation, shifting technologies, and evolving political landscapes. Amid these big moments in history, something much smaller and seemingly insignificant was being produced by the U.S. Mint, the Jefferson nickel. Introduced in 1938 to replace the Buffalo nickel, the Jefferson 5-cent piece had by then become a familiar figure in American commerce. Featuring Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and his beloved Monticello on the reverse, this coin was, and still is, a tribute to one of the nation's most influential founding fathers. But in 1979, something unusual happened. While millions of these nickels were struck and released into circulation just like every other year, a handful were minted with small imperfections, anomalies, or minting errors that would later become incredibly valuable to those who knew what to look for. One of the most significant factors that can turn an ordinary coin into a collector's dream is the presence of a doubled die. This type of error occurs when the die used to strike the coin's design is imprinted twice at slightly different angles, creating a noticeable doubling effect in key areas, such as the words, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," or even the date, 1979. While the difference can be subtle to the untrained eye, to collectors, this anomaly is like striking gold. Another error that makes 1979 nickels so interesting is the off-center strike. These happen when the planchet, the blank metal disc that becomes a coin, is not properly aligned in the press during minting. The result? A visibly off-center image that can cut off part of Jefferson's face or shift the lettering dramatically. These kinds of errors not only stand out visually, but also carry significant value, especially when the date remains clearly visible. Even rarer still are wrong planchet strikes, where a 1979 nickel was accidentally struck on a blank intended for another denomination, like a penny or even a foreign coin. These coins can appear thinner, lighter, or even a completely different color due to the mismatched metal composition. Such minting errors are rare and extremely collectible, with prices soaring at auctions depending on their uniqueness and condition. Speaking of condition, let's talk about grading, one of the most critical factors in determining a coin's true market value. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with anything 60 and above considered mint state. A 1979 nickel with a rare error might be worth a few $100s in circulated condition, but that same coin in uncirculated, mint state condition could be worth thousands, or even more. Pristine coins with their original luster, sharp details, and no signs of wear are what elite collectors seek. Now, you might be wondering, how many of these rare coins are still out there? The answer is, more than you'd think. Over the years, many rare 1979 nickels have remained hidden in plain sight, tucked away in old jars, rolls of coins, or forgotten collections passed down through generations. The exciting part is that you could be the one to find the next valuable piece, simply by taking a closer look at the change you handle every day. Imagine holding a small piece of metal, something you once thought was worth only 5 cents, and discovering it could be worth thousands. That exact scenario played out for one lucky coin enthusiast who noticed a strange visual doubling on the date of a 1979 nickel. At first, it seemed like nothing, maybe just a trick of the light or a smudge. But something about the coin stood out. Upon further inspection with a magnifying lens, the doubling was real. This wasn't damage. This was a minting error. The coin was then submitted to a professional grading service for verification. What came back was jaw-dropping. The coin was authenticated as a 1979 Jefferson nickel with a rare double die error, struck in mint state condition, with exceptional sharpness and eye appeal. It wasn't just rare, it was one of a kind. News spread quickly in collector communities and numismatic circles. The coin was listed at a prestigious auction house, and when the bidding began, it was clear this wasn't going to be an average sale. Enthusiasts and collectors from around the world placed their offers, each hoping to claim this piece of American minting history. As the numbers climbed higher and higher, the true value of the coin became undeniable, and in the end, that single 1979 Jefferson nickel, a coin most people would have never looked twice at, sold for a staggering $105,000. Yes, you heard that right. A nickel, just 5 cents in face value, sold for $105,000 because of a rare minting error, exceptional condition, and a bit of luck. It's a story that proves once again that extraordinary treasures often come in the most ordinary forms. So the next time you receive change at a store or dig through an old coin collection, don't ignore the nickels. Pay close attention. Look for unusual lettering, doubled numbers, or designs that seem off. Grab a magnifying glass. Learn the key errors to search for, and weigh your coins if something feels unusual. Because the next rare discovery isn't hiding in a museum. It might be right in your pocket. Top 2. Have you ever looked at a simple coin in your pocket and wondered if it might be worth more than it seems? We're not talking about rare gold coins or ancient treasures buried in the ground. We're talking about a plain, everyday nickel. That's right, a Jefferson 5-cent coin, minted in the United States in 1989. While most people would glance at it, maybe use it for a candy bar or drop it into a parking meter, few realize that certain 1989 Jefferson nickels could be worth a small fortune. And today, we're diving deep into the mystery, history, and hidden value behind this fascinating coin that might just be sitting quietly in your spare change right now. The Jefferson nickel has been an American classic since 1938, replacing the Buffalo nickel with a design that pays tribute to Thomas Jefferson, one of the country's most influential founding fathers. His iconic profile graces the front of the coin, while the reverse side features a rendering of Monticello, his beloved Virginia estate. These coins have remained largely unchanged for decades, becoming a steady presence in American wallets, drawers, and jars full of loose change. Now let's fast forward to the year 1989. This was a time when the U.S. Mint was operating at full speed, producing millions upon millions of coins to meet the demands of commerce. That year, Jefferson nickels were struck at multiple locations, including the Philadelphia and Denver mints. On the surface, there's nothing particularly special about this year. But as every seasoned coin collector knows, the real magic of coin collecting lies in the details. The secret isn't always in the design, but in the unexpected, the errors, the anomalies, the quirks that slip through unnoticed. Some 1989 Jefferson nickels were struck with minting errors that elevate them from common coins to rare collectibles. One of the most sought after among these is the double die error. This occurs when the die used to strike the coin's design receives a double impression that's slightly misaligned. This can lead to parts of the design, like the date, the words Liberty or In God We Trust appearing doubled. While it may sound like a minor flaw, such an error, especially when visible to the naked eye, sends collectors into a frenzy. The rarity and uniqueness of a clearly doubled 1989 nickel can multiply its value significantly. Another major variety that sparks excitement in the coin world is the off-center strike. This happens when the coin blank is misaligned in the press during the striking process. The result is a coin where the design appears shifted, sometimes by just a few percent, sometimes by nearly half. The more dramatic the off-center strike, especially when the date is still fully visible, the more valuable the coin becomes. And then, there are the incredibly rare wrong planchet errors. When a Jefferson nickel is mistakenly struck on a blank mint for another denomination, like a penny or even a foreign coin. These errors result in coins that appear lighter, smaller, or a different color than expected. A 1989 nickel struck on a copper penny blank, for example, would look reddish and completely unlike a normal 5-cent piece. If authenticated by a professional grading service, this type of error could place the coin into an elite tier of collectability. But even beyond errors, condition is king in the world of numismatics. Coin collectors and investors look for the highest possible quality, coins that have never been circulated, that show no wear, and that gleam with their original mint luster. A coin in mint state condition is graded on a 70-point scale, and the closer it is to MS-70, the more valuable it becomes. When you combine a rare error with flawless condition, you have a coin that isn't just worth collecting, it's worth investing in. So where can one find these rare 1989 Jefferson nickels? The answer might surprise you. They're not all locked away in vaults or museum displays. In fact, many of them are still floating out there in everyday circulation, hidden among the ordinary. People have reported discovering rare nickels in inherited coin collections, in forgotten piggy banks, or even by checking through rolls of coins from the bank. It's part of what makes coin collecting such a thrilling and accessible hobby. The next big find could be waiting in your pocket right now. One of the most astonishing stories to come out of the coin collecting community involves a 1989 Jefferson nickel that at first glance looked completely ordinary. It was found in a drawer, mixed in with some other loose change. But something about it caught the eye of its owner: a slight doubling on the date, some unusual thickness in the lettering, and an odd, uncirculated shine. The coin was sent to a grading service for verification, and the results were jaw-dropping. It was confirmed as a rare double-die variety, in near-perfect mint state condition. This was not just a small minting mistake, it was a significant error that had gone unnoticed for decades. When word of the coin's discovery spread, collectors and dealers alike took notice. The coin went up for auction, and as bidders recognized its rarity and condition, the offers quickly began to climb. It didn't take long before the humble 5-cent coin made headlines in the collector's world. And when the final gavel fell, that 1989 Jefferson nickel, a coin worth just 5 cents on paper, sold for a staggering $75,000. That's right. One coin, about the size of a quarter, weighing just 5 grams, made of copper and nickel, sold for $75,000. It's a stunning reminder that in the world of coins, the smallest things can carry the biggest surprises. The next time you come across a nickel, whether it's in your change from the grocery store or sitting forgotten in a coffee can full of coins, take a moment. Look closely. Examine the date, the edges, the lettering. You never know what you might find. That small piece of metal in your hand could be one of the rarest and most valuable coins in circulation, just waiting to be discovered. Top 3. There's something mysterious about small things. Things that people overlook. That slip between couch cushions or get tossed into jars without a second glance. But sometimes, those tiny items hold stories bigger than anyone expects. And sometimes, like in the case of the 1990 Jefferson nickel, they hold a hidden fortune. That's right, a 5-cent coin, minted in the United States in 1990, could be sitting in someone's pocket right now, completely unnoticed. What seems like ordinary change to one person could be a rare treasure to another. The Jefferson nickel has been in circulation for decades. First introduced in 1938, this coin was designed to honor one of America's founding fathers, Thomas Jefferson. His portrait appears on the front of the coin, staring confidently toward the left. On the reverse, you'll find Monticello, Jefferson's historic home in Virginia. The design has become iconic over time, so familiar, in fact, that most people never think twice when they see it. And that's where the magic lies. Because behind that everyday appearance, some Jefferson nickels, like those from 1990, contain flaws, features, or minting errors that make them extremely rare and valuable to collectors. In 1990, the U.S. Mint struck millions of Jefferson nickels using advanced machinery and die press systems. But even the most efficient technology isn't perfect. Errors can and do happen. These errors, though accidental, are what spark massive interest in the world of coin collecting. They're not just flaws, they're unique fingerprints, anomalies that make certain coins one-of-a-kind. One of the most talked about features among 1990 Jefferson nickels is the possibility of a double die error. This happens when the die, the tool that stamps the coin's image, is engraved twice with a slight misalignment. It creates a visible doubling effect on parts of the design, especially the year, the words liberty, and the phrase "In God We Trust." If you were to spot such doubling on a 1990 nickel, you might think your eyes were playing tricks on you. But what you'd really be looking at is a rare and valuable piece of minting history. Another type of error that elevates a coin's value is the off-center strike. This is when the blank coin, known as a planchet, isn't positioned correctly beneath the dies during minting. The resulting coin may have Jefferson's face pushed to one side, or a portion of the design missing entirely. The more off-center the coin, and the more clearly the date remains visible, the more valuable it becomes. Off-center coins are visual showpieces, offering collectors something both aesthetically unusual and historically significant. There's also the rare chance of encountering a wrong planchet strike. A coin that was mistakenly struck on a blank mint for another denomination or even a foreign coin. Imagine finding a nickel that's unusually light, smaller, or reddish in color. It might be a nickel design stamped on a penny's copper planchet, a rare error that's been documented in several years, including around 1990. These mistakes happen during fast-paced minting runs, and when caught, they instantly grab the attention of coin experts and auction houses. Then we come to the one element that ties everything together: condition. A coin with a rare error is exciting, but a coin with a rare error that has never been circulated? That's a collector's dream. The best of the best are classified as mint state coins. These coins still have their original shine, no scratches, no fingerprints, no dulling from years of handling. Combine mint state condition with a rare variety or error, and you've got something that's not just valuable, it's truly exceptional. What makes the 1990 Jefferson Nickels so fascinating is the fact that its potential value is still hiding out there in the real world. You don't need to be a millionaire or a museum curator to stumble across one. People have found valuable coins and old rolls from the bank, tucked into drawers, or passed down in family collections. There are countless stories of lucky finds, someone spotting a double die in their change, or noticing an off-metal color when sorting through coins. These aren't fairy tales. They're real moments of discovery, waiting to happen again. And the beauty of it all is that the tools to find these treasures are simple: a magnifying glass, a bit of knowledge, and a little curiosity. Take a close look at the next nickel you find. Does the lettering look strange? Are the numbers doubled? Is the design shifted or off-center? Does the color seem unusual? These are the subtle signs that could set one nickel apart from the rest. One of the most remarkable stories involving the 1990 Jefferson nickel comes from a collector who found an unusual piece in a roll of bank-issued coins. At first, it looked like any other coin, but under magnification, they noticed that the date seemed thicker, almost as if it had been stamped twice. The word Liberty also had shadows behind each letter. This wasn't wear. It was doubling. After careful inspection and professional grading, the coin was authenticated as a genuine double die error. But that wasn't all. The coin was in near-perfect condition, classified as a high mint state grade. What happened next shocked the collecting community. The coin was submitted to auction and instantly attracted attention from experts and hobbyists alike. What started as an ordinary-looking nickel became the star of the show. Collectors recognized how rare it was, both in error and condition. Bidding was fierce, and the final price stunned everyone involved. That single 1990 Jefferson nickel, just 5 cents in face value, was sold for an astonishing $70,000. Yes, you heard that right. 70,000 US dollars. For a nickel. It's not a myth. It's not a legend. It's real, documented, and serves as a powerful reminder that treasure can truly hide in plain sight. So, before you toss that handful of change on your desk or cash in that jar of coins at the machine, take a second to look closer. That ordinary-looking 1990 Jefferson nickel might just be a silent fortune in disguise, waiting for the right person to notice its extraordinary story. Top 4. It's amazing how the smallest things can carry the biggest surprises. Every day, we carry around coins in our pockets, slide them into vending machines, or toss them into tip jars without giving them a second glance. But what if one of those coins, just a simple 5-cent piece, turned out to be worth a fortune? It may sound like a long shot, but for one year in particular, that story becomes real. The 1992 Jefferson nickel, produced by the United States Mint, is a coin that most people overlook, but in certain cases, it could be worth thousands, and in one extraordinary case, it sold for a jaw-dropping sum that no one saw coming. The Jefferson nickel has been a cornerstone of U.S. coinage since it replaced the Buffalo nickel in 1938. With Thomas Jefferson's portrait on the obverse and his historic Monticello home on the reverse, it's one of the most iconic and unchanged designs in modern coinage. By 1992, the design was already familiar, a staple in change drawers and coin jars across the country. But what collectors know is that sometimes, hidden among the masses, there are coins that defy the ordinary. 1992 was a routine year for the U.S. Mint in terms of production. The Jefferson Nickels were struck at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints and released into circulation by the millions. But as with all mass production, the door was left open for the rarest and most valuable aspect of coin collecting: minting errors. These mistakes are rare, sometimes nearly invisible, but when identified and authenticated, they can transform an everyday coin into a prized collector's item. One of the most sought-after types of errors on Jefferson Nickels is the double die variety. This occurs during the die creation process when a die is imprinted more than once with a misalignment, causing the images or lettering on the coin to appear doubled. On a 1992 nickel, this doubling might be visible in the word Liberty or in the year itself. To someone unfamiliar with coins, this might look like blurring or damage, but to a seasoned collector, it's the mark of a truly rare find. Another fascinating variety is the off-center strike, a coin that was not properly aligned when struck, causing the image to be pushed to one side. In some cases, part of the design is completely missing, making the coin look almost abstract. The more off-center the strike, and the more legible the date and key elements, the more valuable the coin becomes. A dramatically off-center 1992 Jefferson nickel in mint condition would immediately catch the eye of any serious numismatist. There are also rarities involving wrong planchets, where a nickel is struck on a blank mint for another coin, like a penny or even a foreign denomination. These mistakes are incredibly rare, but they have been documented across various minting years. If a 1992 Jefferson nickel was mistakenly struck on a copper planchet mint for a Lincoln cent, the resulting coin would be lighter, have a reddish hue, and possibly weigh less than usual. An unmistakable signal to a collector that they've found something special. But the final, and possibly most important, element in determining a coin's worth is its condition. Even if a coin has a rare error, if it's scratched, dull, or worn from circulation, its value might be significantly reduced. The highest prices go to coins that are in mint state condition, meaning they show no signs of wear and retain their original luster from the minting process. A 1992 nickel with a rare error and a mint state grade becomes a high-value target for collectors and investors alike. Now imagine this: a coin enthusiast, carefully sorting through a collection of old nickels inherited from a relative, spots something unusual. The year on the coin looks slightly off, not in the number itself, but in the thickness of the numbers. The word Liberty seems to have a strange, shadow-like effect. Curious, they decide to have it examined by a grading service. After a thorough review, the coin is certified as a 1992 Jefferson nickel with a double die error. Not only that, it's graded as MS66, a near-perfect specimen. Word spreads quickly through collector circles. A rare double die from 1992 in pristine condition is not something that comes around often. The coin is placed in an auction, and anticipation begins to build. Bidders recognize the importance and scarcity of the piece. It's not just about the error, it's about how flawlessly preserved the coin is after more than 30 years. The auction opens modestly but soon takes off as collectors from around the country place their bids. The final sale price shocks even the most experienced numismatists. That single Jefferson nickel from 1992, one of millions produced, sold for an astonishing $60,000. Yes, you heard that right. A coin that was meant to be worth just 5 cents, something most people wouldn't even bother picking up off the sidewalk, ended up selling for $60,000. It's the kind of story that fuels the passion of collectors around the world and proves that history, rarity, and timing can turn the ordinary into something truly extraordinary. So next time you get change from the grocery store, or find yourself rolling coins from a jar in the corner of your closet, take a closer look. The next great discovery could be in your hands. That 1992 nickel you nearly overlooked? It might just be the key to an unexpected treasure. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story and want to hear more about rare coins, unexpected finds, and valuable secrets hiding in plain sight, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and tap the bell icon. There's a world of history in every coin, and your next fortune might be just 5 cents away. Top 5. In a world where technology advances every day and digital currency is taking over our wallets, it's easy to forget that some of the most fascinating stories are still hidden in plain sight in the coins we handle every day. Take, for example, the simple Jefferson nickel. Most people wouldn't look twice at it. It's just 5 cents, a coin we toss into the bottom of our bags or leave sitting on countertops and in jars. But what if I told you that one particular year, 1994, holds a version of this nickel that could change your entire perspective on spare change? The Jefferson nickel has long been a staple of American coinage. It replaced the Buffalo nickel in 1938 and carried the image of Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States, on the front, with a depiction of his famous home, Monticello, on the back. While its appearance stayed mostly consistent over the decades, every now and then, a coin escapes the mint with something unusual, something that elevates it from ordinary currency to a rare and valuable collectible. Now, let's rewind to 1994. At first glance, it was a standard production year. The U.S. Mint struck millions of Jefferson nickels at its Philadelphia and Denver facilities. For most people, these coins entered circulation without fanfare, destined to live their lives in pockets, purses, vending machines, and parking meters. But in that massive production run, something extraordinary happened. A few rare coins emerged with characteristics so unique, so unexpected, that they caught the attention of collectors and experts alike. The magic of coin collecting often lies in minting errors, the happy accidents that occur during the coin production process. These errors can be minor or dramatic, but when spotted, authenticated, and preserved, they can increase a coin's value dramatically. One of the most exciting types of error found in certain 1994 Jefferson Nickels is the double die. This occurs when the design on the coin is stamped twice by the die, but slightly misaligned, causing parts of the text or image to appear doubled. This might be visible in the word liberty, in the motto "In God We Trust," or even in the date 1994. To a trained eye, this isn't just a flaw, it's a treasure. Another type of error that sparks excitement is the off-center strike. This happens when the blank coin, called a planchet, isn't correctly centered in the machine when struck. The result? A coin where Jefferson's face is pushed far to one side, or where part of the lettering is cut off. If the date is still visible and the strike is dramatic, collectors go wild for these. A 1994 nickel with a 40% off-center strike can command high prices, especially if it's an uncirculated or mint-state condition. There are also stories of wrong planchet strikes, where the Jefferson design was accidentally pressed onto a blank mint for a different coin, like a penny or even a foreign denomination. These mistakes produce coins with different colors, weights, or compositions, and they're highly sought after due to their rarity and visual uniqueness. Imagine finding a nickel that's copper-colored or abnormally light. It could be one of these rare mismatches, but rarity alone isn't enough. Condition is everything. Coin grading, which ranges from poor P1 to perfect mint state MS70, determines how clean, sharp, and untouched a coin is. A coin that has never entered circulation, one that retains its original luster and is free of scratches or wear, is far more desirable to collectors. A rare error on a beat-up coin might be interesting, but the same error on a high-grade specimen? That's the kind of thing that turns heads at auctions and coin shows. And these rare finds aren't locked in vaults or museums. In fact, many are discovered in the most unexpected places, in family coin jars, inside old wallets, or rolled up in forgotten coin sleeves from decades past. There are real stories of people who stumbled upon life-changing coins by simply paying attention to the details. You never know what you might uncover when you take a closer look. Point one such story revolves around a seemingly ordinary 1994 Jefferson nickel that changed someone's life forever. It was found by chance, mixed into a roll of nickels bought from a local bank. At first, it looked like every other coin, but the collector noticed something unusual about the lettering. With a magnifying glass, they saw signs of doubling in the date and inscriptions. They sent it in for professional grading, and the results were stunning. The coin wasn't just a double die, it was in nearly perfect condition, graded at MS66. Experts confirmed its rarity and importance. This wasn't just a lucky coin, it was a once-in-a-generation find. The coin was later listed at a prestigious auction house, where passionate collectors began placing their bids. As the auction continued, the price climbed higher and higher. And by the end, that single nickel, a coin worth 5 cents to most people, had achieved something remarkable. It sold for an incredible $50,000. Yes, 50,000 US dollars. For one nickel. It's a mind-blowing reminder that some of the most valuable things in life don't always shine the brightest. Sometimes, the hidden gems are the ones we've held in our hands without ever realizing it. The next time you receive change, don't just toss it into a drawer. Look closely. Pay attention. That humble 1994 Jefferson nickel might just be more than a coin. It could be history, mystery, and money, all wrapped into one small piece of metal. Top 6. Every now and then, something so ordinary turns out to be extraordinary. You might hold it in your hand every day, pass it over without a second thought, or toss it in a jar on your nightstand. But inside that handful of change could be a tiny piece of American history, and possibly a hidden fortune. That's exactly what happened with a simple Jefferson nickel from the year 2000. Yes, a 5-cent coin, small, lightweight, and familiar to millions. But in one rare case, that nickel turned out to be a collector's dream. Let's set the scene. The year is 2000. A new millennium has begun. America is moving fast into the digital age. The U.S. Mint, ever busy, is producing billions of coins across several denominations. At the time, most attention was being drawn to the new golden Sacagawea dollar, while the humble nickel continued to be minted without fanfare. But tucked among the standard Jefferson Nickels of that year were a select few that carried more than just Jefferson's image. They carried minting secrets, rare characteristics, and the potential for enormous value. Since its introduction in 1938, the Jefferson nickel has been an icon in U.S. coinage. Designed by artist Felix Schlag, the front of the coin features Thomas Jefferson, America's third president, while the reverse showcases his famous home, Monticello. While the core design remained consistent for decades, the real intrigue comes not from what the mint intended, but from the rare occasions when something went unexpectedly wrong. During 2000, Jefferson nickels were minted at the Philadelphia and Denver facilities in massive numbers. Most were flawless, average coins meant to travel through hands without notice. But in that giant wave of circulation, a few anomalies slipped through the cracks. And it's those mistakes, small imperfections during minting, that transformed certain nickels into rare collectibles worth thousands. One of the most prized errors in numismatics is the double die, and 2000 is no exception. A double die occurs when the die that stamps the design onto a coin is engraved more than once in slightly different positions. The result? Lettering, numbers, or images that appear slightly duplicated. On a 2000 Jefferson nickel, this doubling could appear in Liberty, In God We Trust, or the year itself. To an untrained eye, it might look like blurring or a smudge. But to an expert, it's a valuable error, one that sends collectors scrambling to own it. Another captivating error to watch for is the off-center strike. This happens when the blank coin planchet is not perfectly aligned in the press, resulting in a design that's shifted, incomplete, or uneven. The more extreme the off-center strike, especially if the date remains visible, the higher the value. These coins are striking, literally and visually, because they stand out so clearly from the uniformity of everyday change. There's also the possibility of wrong planchet errors, which occur when a Jefferson nickel is accidentally struck on a planchet mint for another denomination. Imagine discovering a nickel design on a copper penny blank. The coin would look reddish instead of silver and feel lighter in weight. These errors are not only incredibly rare, but also very valuable when authenticated by professional grading services. Of course, none of this would matter as much without the crucial factor of condition. In the world of coin collecting, condition is king. A rare error might still be worth something in circulated condition, but a pristine, uncirculated, mint state version? That's the jackpot. Mint state coins are graded on a 70-point scale, and coins in the MS65 or higher range are especially desirable. Their surfaces are smooth, their luster intact, and they often show no signs of wear or handling. Finding a rare 2000 nickel with a double die or off-center strike in mint condition is like striking gold. And these incredible finds aren't always discovered by seasoned collectors. Some of the most valuable coins have been found by everyday people, those who simply paid a little more attention to their change. A sharp eye and a bit of curiosity are often all it takes. Bank rolls, change from a cashier, old jars of coins saved for years. These are treasure troves waiting to be explored. There's a well-known story in the numismatic community about a coin enthusiast who stumbled upon an unusual 2000 Jefferson nickel while helping a family member organize an old coin collection. At first glance, it looked like every other nickel, but something seemed off. The numbers in the date looked thicker than usual. The letters in Liberty had shadows. Intrigued, they sent the coin for grading. It came back as a verified double die in mint state 66. A stunning combination of rarity and condition. The news spread quickly through the collector world. Experts praised the find, and collectors lined up with interest. Eventually, the coin went to auction, where competitive bidding drove the price higher and higher. When the final bid came in, everyone was stunned. That single Jefferson nickel from the year 2000, just 5 cents in face value, sold for a staggering $40,000. Yes, 40,000 US dollars. For a nickel, one coin, one extraordinary error, one unforgettable result. The next time you're holding a handful of coins, don't rush to spend them or dump them into a change jar. Take a moment. Look closely. You never know, you might be holding a piece of hidden history. Because in the world of coins, even the smallest denominations can carry the biggest surprises. Thanks for watching. If this story amazed you, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel for more coin discoveries, and ring the notification bell. Who knows? Your next great find might be just 5 cents away.